The 6-year-old girl stares warily at the stranger behind her. Faced with her naive yet firm warning, the photographer did not back away. Instead, he was deeply moved by the fierce and vibrant vitality in her eyes. Little did the Japanese photographer know that this fateful encounter would result in a nearly perfect, critically acclaimed documentary. No one expected a chance meeting to turn into a 5-year journey of companionship. The steppe is vast enough to hold the winds and sands of all seasons, yet too small to contain the successive partings of one family. Set on the Mongolian steppe in 1999, this true story has a Duban score of 9.7. A reality so poignant, one dares not watch it twice. 6-year-old Puji possesses the fiercest gaze of the steppe's children, yet she loses her loved ones time and again amidst the storms of fate. When Japanese explorer Sakino first turned his lens toward the Mongolian steppe, his gaze was immediately captured by this 6-year-old girl. Every day she sits astride a horse herding nearly 800 cattle and sheep with a steady composure, making her look like a guardian spirit of the plains. There is an indescribable sense of majesty in her as she rides. This was one of the reasons Sakino was so drawn to her. To satisfy his curiosity, Sakino visited the girl's yurt early the next morning. Kind and humble grandmother stood at the door, greeting him with a smile. The grandmother took no offense at the stranger's sudden visit. Instead, she invited him inside the yurt to take a seat. He learned from her grandmother that the girl's name is Puji, short for Purebjiran, meaning heaven-sent girl, born on Thursday in Mongolian. Yet on Puji's face, the typical cheerfulness and innocence of a 6-year-old are nowhere to be found. At an age when she should be seeking affection in her parents' arms, yet she had been forced to grow up far beyond her years. When Sakino asked the grandmother about Puji's parents, she choked up, unable to find the words. 3 months ago, a band of horse thieves had raided their home under the cover of night, driving away over 40 of the family's horses. Determined to recover them, Puji's mother set off alone into the depths of the steppe. 3 months have passed, and there has been no word of her since. Her father had abandoned the family 3 years prior, never to be heard from again. Hearing the grandmother's words, Sakino felt a sharp pang of sorrow in his heart. Now this broken home rests entirely on the shoulders of her aging grandparents. If they were to pass away one day, how would these children manage to survive on their own? Her cousin Basa is only 2 years old. The daily burden of herding the cattle and sheep fell entirely on Puji. At such a tender age, she shouldered the weight of it all. Every day she repeats the same routine, mounting her horse at dawn to watch over the herd. Across the vast pasture, hundreds of animals follow her every command. Perhaps Puji has long forgotten that she is only 6 years old. When any animal strays from the herd, Puji leaps nimbly from her horse, desperately chasing down the stubborn strays. Though only 6, there isn't a trace of fear in her. She possesses a relentless grit, refusing to rest until the job is done. After settling the livestock, she returns home to chop stacks of firewood, carrying them bundle by bundle into the jar.
Sakino.
Sakino wore a smile, but his heart ached for her. One day, Puji sat on the ground and sighed.
If only Mother were here. Don't listen to that woman.
She felt there was no future in this life. Only education could change her destiny. Sakino asked her what she wanted to be after she finished school. But reality pulled her back. Soon, she would have to drive the herd to find water. Just then the mother, who had been searching for the horses, finally returned. Her name is Altansetseg. Though she looks weathered by life, she is only 32 years old. She had tracked the horse thieves all the way to the border before finally heading home. A warm smile lit up her face when she saw a guest had arrived at her home. She didn't utter a single word about the hardships of those 3 months, keeping them buried deep within her heart. Reunited with her mother after so long, Puji finally flashed a rare smile. Though she appeared unharmed, those 3 months had been grueling for her. By day, she relentlessly pursued the horses. By night, she slept on the open grass amidst the biting wind. In 3 months, she traversed nearly half of the vast Mongolian steppe, near Ulaanbaatar, only to find a few abandoned reins. In the end, her return home was all too brief. She had come back this time just to see her children. After resting for a few days, she would set off again in a different direction to continue the search. Before departing, she gave Sakino her word that Pooji would surely go to school next spring. No matter how hard it was to find the tuition, she would do whatever it took, even selling everything they owned, to ensure her daughter got an education. But she knew that only through education could her daughter leave this step behind and see the world beyond. No mother wants to see her child trapped on the grasslands for the rest of their lives. She simply wanted her daughter to go out, reach higher ground, and see more of the world. A month after her departure, heavy snow began to fall across the region. In years past, the nomads would have already migrated to their winter pastures by now, but with Pooji's mother still missing, the family was forced to stay put. As the snow fell relentlessly for days, the entire pasture was swallowed by a sea of white. The livestock groaned and shivered in the freezing temperatures, while other children huddled by the fire indoors. Pooji alone braved the blizzard to tend to the herd. She was freezing, but she had no other choice. Watching the shivering calves and lambs, the kind-hearted Pooji tried to cover their shelter, but with her small frame, her hands were already frozen stiff. She simply couldn't lift the heavy roof cover. She could only pray in silence, hoping they would survive the blizzard inside. The Gia grandma turned on an old radio, just hoping to hear the latest weather report. Unexpectedly, the forecast warned of an even greater blizzard sweeping the grasslands in a few days. Grandma was deeply worried, fearing the flock wouldn't pull through. She feared even more that her daughter, out searching for the horses, might freeze to death in the storm. Fortunately, before the blizzard hit, the mother returned safely, though the horses were still missing. But being huddled together as a family was enough to dispel the cold and anxiety. He brought back a precious treat for the children, some cookies. On these grasslands, children only get to taste such things once a year. But what Pooji craved most wasn't food, it was her mother's presence. If only time could be frozen in this moment forever. After the blizzard, the flock fortunately survived. Sakino built a snowman for the children, and Pooji was overjoyed. Sakino took out his camera and captured a family portrait. Facing the lens for the first time, Pooji was shy, but her mother smiled radiantly. After decades of living on the steppe, this was their first ever family photo. The whole family wore their most honest, simple smiles. Little did anyone know that this sole family photo would become for Grandma an unhealable scar in her heart. To evade the next storm, the family had to migrate to the winter pasture while the skies were clear. It was also time for Sakino to depart. Before he left, the mother led a white horse to him. As a gift for Sakino, he recognized it at a glance. It was Pooji's favorite horse. Though she said she didn't mind, her eyes were filled with reluctance. On the grounds that he couldn't take it with him, Sakino entrusted the white horse back to Pooji's care. He then asked her what gift she would like him to bring next time. Pooji lowered her head shyly and whispered, "I want a video game console. Such a gift is perhaps the ultimate wish of every child." Sakino readily agreed. Before they parted, Grandma specially brewed a pot of sute chai. Though they hadn't known each other long, she already regarded Sakino as family. She thanked him for accompanying Pooji. During this time, Pooji waved her hand to say goodbye to Sakino. The mother did not get into the vehicle, standing there with her urga in hand. She followed the car silently on horseback, waved, and then turned to ride away with grace. No one could have imagined that this parting would be their last. The following spring, before the ice and snow on the grasslands had fully melted, Kino returned to Mongolia. As promised, he had even carefully selected a video game console for Pooji. After a long journey, he finally reached the family's new pasture. But to his surprise, the Pooji who was so lively the year before was strangely cold today, not even looking him in the eye. Sakino's heart sank. He stepped forward and asked the uncle where Pooji's mother had gone. The uncle's voice faltered as he replied softly, "She went to the city." After that, the uncle remained silent, regardless of further questions. Just then, Grandma returned from herding the sheep. She greeted Sakino with a smile, just like before, as if everything was normal. But it wasn't until Sakino walked into the ger that he truly understood the meaning of going to the city.
Gosh, please. Stay away from me this time.
Grandma seemed strong, but tears were already welling up in her eyes. Sakino couldn't believe that the woman from the grasslands, once so full of life, had suddenly become a cold, memorial portrait. It wasn't long ago that he had received a greeting card from her.
His eyes so near, so gentle. The song is sung softly. My eyes so near and so gentle. Singing along. Oh, the tears.
Grandma slowly recounted the tragic accident. A month ago, while Pooji's mother was helping other herders drive horses, she fell from her horse and was mercilessly trampled by the stampeding herd. The grassland is vast, and for miles around it was desolate and uninhabited. Grandma waited days for an ambulance that never arrived. When they finally reached a hospital, they couldn't afford the surgery fees. She was turned away by the hospital. On the way back home, her mother passed away forever. The winds of the northern desert never ceased. They withered the grass and swept away that unyielding soul. After her mother's death, little Pooji wept for 10 days straight and only found a sense of comfort when her uncle rushed back from the city. However, the blows of fate continued to fall. Her grandfather, unable to bear the grief of losing his daughter, soon passed away as well. In just a few days, this already fragmented home lost 2 more of its pillars. Sakino took out a carefully prepared photo album. The air in the room seemed to freeze. Her mother in the photos was smiling so brightly as Pooji gazed at that smile. Her tense face finally softened into a long-absent smile. It was her happiest day since her mother had passed. She kept thanking Sakino, then nestled into her uncle's arms, playing with the handheld game console. As the start of school drew near, Grandma sent Pooji to live with relatives on the outskirts of Ulaanbaatar. On her first day of school, Pooji wore a large red flower her mother had made for her. Holding her cousin's hand, she walked happily towards school. In class, Pooji listened intently, her eyes filled with a longing for knowledge. She was the first child in her family to attend school. Pooji studied not just for herself, but as the hope of her entire family. Her uncle came all the way from the ranch to watch her secretly from the doorway, his face filled with anticipation and pride. On the 7th day after her mother's passing, the family went to pay their respects. Pooji wanted to go too, but her grandmother forced her to stay in the car. Grandmother told Sakino that according to local custom, children must not visit graves for the first 3 years, for a child's tears would make the deceased reluctant to leave, preventing a peaceful reincarnation. At 6 years old, how could Pooji understand any of this? She only knew that she missed her mother and wanted to see her. Every time she tried to run out, her cousin pulled her back. Her mother was just a short distance away, yet she could not go near. The determination in her eyes was heartbreaking. The usually stoic uncle wept like a child at his sister's grave, and the grandmother, who hadn't shed a tear throughout the film, could no longer hold back, letting her tears fall freely. Yet the wheels of fate did not stop turning. That winter, a once-in-a-century blizzard swept across the land. Across Ulaanbaatar, thick snow buried everything, and the pastures were hidden deep beneath. Countless livestock collapsed from hunger and cold. Government's relief truck arrived only for them to be told that the life-saving fodder must be purchased. Grandmother could not afford it and could only watch as her livestock died one after another before her eyes. In her long life, Grandmother had witnessed far too many of these disasters. She told Sakino that as long as one survives, everything can be built anew. This was not mere consolation. It was the resilience etched into the souls of the nomadic people. 2 years passed and life returned to the grasslands once more. On Sakino's 3rd visit, Grandma still greeted him with a smile, only this time she had grown much thinner. Pooji had grown quite a bit and was already an expert at herding. Every movement she made reminded him of her mother. Upon Sakino's arrival, Pooji's smile was heartwarming and sweet. The family slaughtered a sheep to welcome him. Beneath the blue sky, the family shared a moment of joy. After dinner, Pooji took Sakino for a walk, whispering that her dream had changed. She no longer just wanted to be a teacher. She wanted to learn many languages and become a translator. She wanted to travel the world like Uncle Sakino and even learn Japanese so she could understand him and visit his hometown when she grew up. Beautiful moments are fleeting. Sakino's next destination was Africa. The time to part had come once more. Grandma packed Sakino a large bag of beef jerky, kissing his cheek as if she were seeing off her own son, offering him the finest blessings of the steppe. This woman who had been strong all her life finally shed tears at this moment. She knew this farewell might be their last, so she held this goodbye close to her heart. The family waved and watched until the car vanished over the horizon. 3 years flashed by. After finishing his African expedition, Sakino returned to Mongolia, longing to see how much Fuji had grown. But this time, Grandma greeted him with tears. Inside the jar, she couldn't stop wiping her eyes. The more she tried to be strong, the more the tears flowed. Before Sakino could even ask, he noticed a new photograph on the table, placed right beside her mother's memorial portrait. The spirited girl who once rode so boldly across the plains, the girl who dreamed of leaving the steppe to see the world, was gone. It was the day before her elementary school graduation, when an out-of-control truck barreled toward the school gates, bringing her life to a permanent halt at the age of 12. She was like wild grass growing stubbornly in the wind, yet like wild grass she could be broken in a single instant. She dreamed of becoming a teacher, a translator, of learning Japanese, and visiting Uncle Sakino's homeland. None of those small shimmering dreams ever had the chance to come true. Just like her mother, she entered the city in death, becoming another unremarkable handful of dust on the steppe. Grandma led Sakino to Fuji's grave. By now, Grandma had stopped crying. She calmly took the flowers and gently laid them before the grave. For Grandma, the greatest pain was never the hardship itself, but watching her loved ones leave her one by one, until she was left alone to guard the memories. Her husband was gone, her daughter was gone, and now even her beloved granddaughter was gone. While others grow up slowly, her life was marked by one farewell after another. She seemed to spend her entire life learning to accept loss, and despite her own immense suffering, she still summoned the strength to offer warmth to those around her. Grandma wasn't just strong, she simply didn't dare to collapse. All that unspoken pain was buried deep within, turning into wrinkles, turning into silence, turning into the image of an old woman sitting alone staring into the distance. There's nothing more heartbreaking than someone who remained gentle throughout their life, only to be worn down by the cruelty of fate. As Sakino departed, Grandma told him, "Look forward and don't look back." This resilient woman finally went to join her family in 2011. We always assume there is plenty of time, forgetting that life is simply a countdown of final meetings. The steppe remains vast and the sky remains clear, but those once vibrant souls will never again appear in the wind. The deepest pain lies not in how tragic the story is, but in the fact that this was a life truly lived. May the winds of the steppe carry away all suffering, and may they find peace in the next life.